Hi, in this video I'm going to read to you Beauty and the Banker, a financial fairy tale included in 1,000,001 Dirham Financial Fairy Tales on page 73, inspired by Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Banker. Once upon a time there was a merchant. He was blessed with some good trading business, but particularly with some great looking daughters. Being daughters of their father, most of them were in for a good trade themselves. They would sell their skins dearly. They had to be covered by leather of Prada, Chanel, Hermes. They would only be picked up in decent cars, driven to decent restaurants. They would only be driven by boys capable of covering them with leather of Prada, Chanel, Hermes. Boys capable of picking them up in decent cars. Boys capable of driving them to decent restaurants. All of them, except for one. The youngest one, the prettiest one. She was also the one that did not bother about what boys were capable of offering her. She was nicknamed Beauty. One bad day, the merchant lost on all of his trades when a virus had destroyed the world economy. He was forced to move to a small mediocre home with his great-looking daughters, a home that was so small that the sun could shine straight through. Whilst her sisters were swearing at the small home, Beauty was the one that made herself comfortable in her small room, shared with two swearing sisters, without complaining. Sometime later, one of the merchant buyers was making a significant payment. The merchant, mindful of the perceived misery of his great-looking daughters, asked him if they wished for him to bring any gifts. The elder daughters asked for Birkin bags, Louboutin shoes, and Tiffany jewelry, as they believed his wealth had returned. Beauty asked for nothing but her father's well-being and wished for someone to do business with him. Whilst the merchant was trying to collect his further receivables, he ended up in a foreign market. He sought financial shelter and snuck into a lavish building of a bank known to be purchasing distressed receivables. He entered a room and looked around. There was a piece of paper on the table. He picked it up and read it. It was an irrevocable commitment to buy a defaulted receivable of choice at an amazing discount. He was surprised to see his name on it as addressee. He accepted the transaction and spent the night at the bank cheerfully. The next morning he walked around and found a meeting room with a similar profitable transaction offer on the table. The merchant quickly accepted this one too and settled one of the commitments, thinking of Beauty's wish for him to realize just that. Just as he contemplated settling more commitments to buy, a hideous banker came in and tried to kill him for settling the trade. The merchant begged to be set free and explained the wish of Beauty. The banker agreed to let him leave with one more commitment to settle a trade, subject to one condition. Beauty had to be assigned to him. The merchant reluctantly accepted the condition without obtaining much clarity on what exactly he was assigning of his beauty, except that she had to be brought into his vault. The banker sent him away with plenty of Birkin bags, Louboutin shoes, and Tiffany jewelry. Upon arrival back home, the merchant handed the Birkin bags, Louboutin shoes, and Tiffany jewelry to his eldest daughters. He told them never to set foot in the bank, but they did not pay attention, being distracted by the gifts they received. He then turned to Beauty and showed her the commitment to settle his most important trade. She cried with joy until he explained what a terrible price he had to pay for it. Beauty decided to go to the hideous banker's vault to adhere to the condition and to take the magic Rolls Royce the hideous banker had provided the merchant with. The hideous banker welcomed Beauty with fireworks, flowers, champagne, chocolate, and endless red carpet, attention, lengthy conversation, sweet words and compliments. He spoiled her with anything she could wish for before he took her to his vault. Every night the hideous banker asked her to sleep with him, but she refused, for he was hideous. Each time she refused, she dreamt of a handsome banker developing feelings of love. She ignored the wise words of Confucius, even though they were magically brought to her in her dreams by her father, dressed as a Chinese philosopher. Everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it. At daytime she searched throughout the bank, discovering many enchanted rooms filled with desks, file cabinets, computers, screens, lunch tables, TL lights. Creatures in various shapes and forms passed by, wearing pinstripe suits, including assistant vice presidents, managing directors, tellers, compliance officers, operations executives, and custodians, but never the banker from her dreams. Beauty lived the glamorous life inside the hideous banker's palatial offices, participated in sumptuous meals supplied by the bank's cafeteria, received every kind of relationship gift and logo embroidered bank garment to wear. Eventually, Beauty started feeling homesick and begged the hideous banker to allow her to see her family again. The hideous banker allowed her to do so, provided she would return upon the start of the next financial quarter. He gave her an Internet of Things enhanced bracelet made of metal so precious it would transport her through time and space to her family upon spinning it around her wrist just twice. When she did, she instantly ended up in her family's home. The elder sister stared jealously at her fine logo embroidered bank garments and her well-fed appearance, and were particularly annoyed by their boyfriend's stares at her. Beauty was persuaded by her loving father to stay longer and reluctantly stayed into the next financial quarter until the hideous banker appeared in her dream, threatened to be let go, effective immediately, due to poor performance in the new financial quarter. Beauty wasted no time and spinned the Internet of Things enhanced bracelets the other way around. She came to his rescue. Lovingly, she offered the hideous banker a few highly profitable receivables at a generous discount. When the hideous banker proposed her to marry him, she realized she loved him and agreed to marry him, in spite of him being hideous. The next morning she woke up to discover the hideous banker had turned into the banker of her dreams, with thick dark hair, well-tanned skin and white teeth, wearing a dry-clean three-piece suit with double Windsor knot silk tie and black shoes from Northampton. When she asked him in awe how he could have become such a beautiful banker, a fairy appeared in a Bloomberg screen in front of them. "Let me explain this," said the fairy. "This banker was once beautiful, but he went to work for a hideous bank where he did hideous transactions with hideous counterparties. He has now done the most beautiful transaction with you, the most beautiful counterparty. This has made him beautiful again." "Thank you, fairy," said Beauty, and turned to her beautiful banker. "Is this true, my beautiful banker?" "Yes, it is, Beauty. I love you and your beautiful transactions." Beauty was in tears. "I love you too." Beauty and the banker lived happily ever after.